it's such a pain. It's such a
Yeah.
pain. Work from home, but oh my God, bang your head against the wall. Different browsers, different operating systems, whatever.
Oh yeah, I hate that as well. I'm an IT guy at the college I go to, and it's a pain. And we're live, so if they're watching this, hi.
Oh shoot! Hi.
Hello.
All right, so this is season 3, episode 5, Moss or more. And in the beginning, we got the interesting backstory of how Walt and Jesse got the RV.
Yeah, I am awake.
Yeah, that
That's
was a
what
flashback,
Yeah, it
right?
that's
was a
what
great
Walt
flashback.
said. Yeah,
Because that had
and
actually occurred, that conversation.
Hmm.
and he gave Jesse money to get the RV, and what does Jesse do? He
Spend
goes
it
and
on
has a
strippers.
party on strippers. Yeah, has a party with Skinny Pete and Combo.
I'm surprised Badger wasn't in there.
Yeah,
Should
where
have
was
Badger in
Badger?
that.
Yeah, where was
A little
Badger?
disappointed.
Yeah, but Finn said nobody ever completely dies on Breaking Bad, and we had Combo back.
Yep.
So it was actually getting the actor back. I didn't think there was a commentary, so I thought I had time to study, and then I realized this whole episode had a commentary. So that's
Uh,
how I watched it. But it had Vince, it had Aaron Paul, Bob at Odenkirk, Anna, Bryan Cranston, and Maura Wiley Beckett. That's her name. She wrote it. And
Hmm.
those are always fun to listen to, but you can't really necessarily know what people are saying because they talk through the whole thing and they go on tangents. But Aaron loved doing that scene, by the way.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, it's strippers. I mean, who wouldn't?
You know who else apparently enjoyed it was Maura because she did the casting and I guess she got a lap dance out of it. I take it that's her thing. And yeah, but
So
yeah,
I don't know how to transition from that.
worst hangover ever.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah. So
mean,
he spent half of the money, and Jesse realized that Walt might, turn him in for not buying the RV. So he enlists Combo, and Combo gave him his parents' RV.
yeah. Combo was like, "Hey man, I can hook you up, man."
Yep.
you get the impression that Combo sort of took it upon himself to sell it for his mother,
Hmm.
and I don't know if he even gave her the money because she did say it was stolen
Yeah.
Yeah,
At the end, she did
at
say it
the
was
end.
stolen. So I don't believe he gave her the money.
most likely not.
Why not? Yeah, she could say, she sold it to her son, but whatever. Or
Yeah.
she let her
Yeah,
son use it, but uh, I don't know. I just don't think because he had to remember when he takes the RV, he's got to get out of there fast.
Hmm.
That's actually the big indication of the nature of that transaction.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that's what starts off the episode is the flashback where Jesse gets the RV, and then the next thing we see is Skyler in Ted's bathroom.
Hmm.
Yeah,
She's still sleeping with Ted and Ellen. What do you think?
I think she's transitioning in this one, but at this
Yeah.
point, it's an escape. Uh, it's a different role. It's a different world at home, and
Hmm.
she's pampered there. She escapes it there. She likes the heated floor. I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah,
in one
yeah,
scene, he's asking her to go out to dinner. That's no, she's not. She's going home for dinner, and she's gonna stay home for the night.
Hmm.
But one more time, she's just gonna stand on that floor and enjoy it. And it's almost
uh,
like Ted's kind of like a spa with benefits.
Yeah, well, in the beginning she loved it, and then a couple of scenes later she's sort of regretting it.
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, and she's well, she and Marie have a conversation that kind of shifts her, and
Hmm.
because Hank's got PTSD and he's screaming at Marie because of it. And Walt is being Walt, and the two sisters are talking on the phone. And I think it's Marie who says something about, when men face death, you know, things happen. And I think Skyler kind of felt like, all right, yeah, Walt is facing death.
Mhm.
It wasn't the same near miss kind of thing as Hank, but it's still impending death.
Yeah.
And she felt like there's her sister being as strong as she can for Hank, and she feels like she needs to be doing the same thing. She's feeling pulled back, but damn, she loves that floor.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does.
But then she sort of regrets it and drops the towel on the floor and stands on the towel.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah. She does
Don't
do
like,
that. Yeah.
Mhm.
like don't get used to this, or you don't deserve this, or something. Yeah,
Yeah. But
and
oh, go ahead.
and visiting with the money. I mean, she looked at the money, kind of like almost, is it a corpse? Is the body really dead? Like something really bad,
Mhm.
And she picked up a stack, and then she just kind of threw it like it was contaminated back into the bag.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, she did
yes,
kind of throw it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
and the conversation with the lawyer, because now she knows she's in a position where she's benefiting. Her children are being fed from drug money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And, the lawyer is exactly right in what she's saying. You know,
Uh-huh.
you can't do this another minute. You got to stop this immediately. And she can't do that. And she's feeling a little more responsibility toward Walt. The cluttered room that she goes to the money in is Holly's room.
Mhm.
Yep.
And it's a mess because Walt's been sleeping there. And she looks at it kind of sadly. And then later she comes back and he's cleaned up and cleaned out and left the divorce papers. And she's
Kind of.
just as
Yeah.
and she's just as sad.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
did I?
he signed the divorce papers. He's like, yeah, okay, you want a divorce? Okay, we'll get one, sure. And that's when he moved out of the house, moved into another apartment.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, at
Because
this point,
it
I don't
worked.
think she wants the divorce. I think she wants to try to make amends. At least try.
Yeah, there's a loyalty there, but mostly I think yeah, she needs to stay close to Walt because she doesn't want anything bad to happen to him.
Because
You
she
know,
she let Walt pick up Holly for like the first time in
yeah,
ages.
Yeah.
that's her like starting to let go a little bit and 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 be protective because the reason she's doing this is so that Junior doesn't have to find out. So it doesn't
Hmm.
help if Walt isn't doing well, if he's not being supervised. She was always the household manager, and
Yeah.
she's got some smarts in areas that he does not.
Yeah.
And uh, yeah. But yeah, she's definitely a little confused about what she's doing with Ted.
Hmm.
Apparently, it's
Yeah.
not feeling that much fun anymore.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And then
what
we
was
see,
that?
oh,
I
that
got
was a
my
motorcycle.
window open.
Yeah.
I think it was a motorcycle or something.
And
Oh, I thought it was
we
like
saw
Dave Porter music or something.
Jesse at Saul's office, and Saul was telling him about escalating.
Hmm.
You know, now one thing we forgot to talk about last week was when Walt was attacking Saul and beating up on him. Mike was just sitting there on the couch. He really wasn't in that big of a hurry to pull Walt off of Saul.
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't. He just took his good old time, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah, because what I think what Mike's gig there was is, dude, that was a really stupid thing to say.
Hmm.
I'd have
Yeah.
punched you too if
Yeah,
you'd said that to me.
yeah, I would have too. But going back into this episode, basically, Skyler just wants to make amends and be done, maybe, instead of getting divorced and everything. She also saw a little transition. You know, she loved it at first, now she's slowly regretting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Marie conversation really did that for her, really shifted her.
Yeah.
So there is, yeah, there is a loyal. I mean, jumping ahead, there's no matter what happens, a piece of Skylar is loyal to Walt and loves Walt.
Hmm.
You know, even when it gets as bad as it can ever get.
Yeah.
So
I think you're
Yeah.
right. I believe. Yeah.
And I think the
Even.
whole dinner scene really told that well. If you noticed, there was a divider in between,
mhm.
and
Yep.
Walt was on one side, and Skyler and Walt Jr. was on the other. And to me, it's saying that Walt is distant from the family.
Yeah, he's separate. He's in his boat
Yeah.
and they're
And,
waving from the shore.
and then
Right?
and there, when Walt
That
Jr.
same thing.
left, and then when Walt Jr. left, the camera pans, and it's just Skyler on one side and Walt on the other.
Yeah. Notice
Very,
that.
very good camera work too. Very
It
Yeah.
interesting.
was. I love that. It was terrific.
Oh, apparently, the dialogue there was supposed to be, there was a lot more of it. Uh, but babies make sounds when they make sounds, and this baby started talking, and so Brian and Anna just went with it, and the dialogue got really cut, but just the way, she said enough, and the way they looked at each other, and it it apparently worked out perfectly. It's like,
Hmm.
I love these things where the actors are just taking an opportunity that you can't get again, not in
Yeah.
the exact
Yeah.
way. And yeah, so that was, they were, Vince and Maura were just like, they're tripping over themselves to
Hmm.
compliment those two for that
Yeah.
scene.
And especially when Brian was holding Holly in the bathroom scene in the final episodes, and Holly was saying, "Mama, that wasn't planned."
Oh yeah, that was me. Yeah, that's one of those things too. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I was thinking that, but I wasn't gonna say it. Season 5.
Yeah. 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 We finally, let's see. Walt goes to, or oh yeah,
He goes to Gus. He
he
goes to
goes to
Gus and
Gus,
asks
like,
him, "What the heck is going on? Why you give me half of this?"
yeah,
And then Gus takes him to the superlab,
yeah.
and in a great monologue with Gus saying, "You prove. What does a man do, Walter? A
Oh,
man
it's
provides
Really,
for his
right.
family."
Yeah,
really hugely important speech in this whole
Yeah.
series.
And the only reason Gus took the deal from Jesse was to lure Walt back. And
yeah,
Gus, the great mind game genius he is, actually did lure Walt back into making meth. And we'll see that in the
yeah,
next episode.
Oh, they talked about it and the music. They called it the seduction.
It was so
Yeah.
whimsical.
Yeah, like a
yeah.
fairy tale, like fairies and sunshine, and nobody ever gets sick, and yeah, whatever. Um, but even before that, Walt is being the alpha with Gus when it comes to this, how
Hmm.
can you do this work with Jesse thing? And the only reason he's able to do that is because Gus is allowing it. Gus is pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Walt doesn't even realize that he's a puppet because his behavior, his reactions are predictable. And they
Hmm.
talked about how these two are so much alike in a lot of ways. And even though they may be on other sides of a coin, they're a lot alike. And can have some level of respect for each other, but also know how the other one ticks. But right now, Gus really is really better at that than Walt is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so by the time Jesse's going, I'm in, you're out, it's like the kindergarten kid, and because the teacher said that you get to erase the blackboards today, and you know, when she'd really decided that last week in a random schedule that she made out. So anyway, um, he
What I like to think
Gus.
about Gus and Walt is a game of chess, and Jesse's the pawn.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's an excellent way to think of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll see more of that because Gus will be a couple of steps ahead of Walt. And then at the end of season 4, checkmate.
Because right now, out
Oh
for Jesse.
yeah.
This means out for Jesse right now. It's
Yep.
definitely out. And then in the office, in Saul's office, where it starts out that Saul is representing Jesse, and Walt walks in like la la la, you know, Saul turns his back on Jesse. Screw you. He follows his nose to where the money is, and that's
Oh
Walt.
yeah.
Which is hilarious. I love that so
He's
much.
the stereotypical ambulance chaser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much so. And then Jesse picks up that concrete block, smashes
The
Walt's
window.
windshield.
Yeah. So what's the score? Jesse's face, Walt's windshield.
Yeah, well, Jesse's face is not going to look good next week.
Yeah.
No.
What is the score?
And meanwhile, Hank is pursuing the RV.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, before that, Jesse did his own windshield smashing. You know, it wasn't like cameras or somebody else who was good at throwing large pieces of concrete at windshields.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, it was a pizza for him. He nailed the windshield perfectly with one throw.
One take, yeah.
And yeah, and you know, Walt's windshield smashed again perfectly. Yeah. So yeah, that was
What's
worth
it with
mentioning.
Vince Gilligan and windshields? Walt's windshield and Saul's windshield at the beginning of Better Call Saul.
It's you know, it's one of those things. It's perfect for Walt. If you're gonna have something happen to you over and over again, it's just one of those things that just, I don't know, it's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I went through a period of my life where it felt like, you know, once every 6 months, some rock got kicked up by another car, hits my windshield, and I need a new one. And I'm like, what?
Oh.
You know, and then it happens over and over and over again. And sometimes those stupid little things like become symbolic about your life. You're like, you know, the ant trying to get up the hill or something, and you're always sliding back. But yeah, one take.
That's cool. Well,
Yes.
yeah, now like I said, we had Hank and Gobi spying on an RV. Hank actually gets up on the roof, looks in, it's just a couple playing cards.
Strip poker.
Strip poker, yeah.
Yeah.
An old couple playing strip poker.
they see him and they freak out. So
They
he's gotta
talked
explain
about
to
those
them.
guys. It was a real couple, and they were like so into doing this, and they did
Wow.
it, and they had a great time. Yeah, you know, a lot of people in Albuquerque, you know, lucky people, got to just get little jobs like this.
Yeah, I wish I was in Albuquerque being extra.
Yeah. And Gobi said he was taking the job in El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's hard on Hank, man. That's hard.
Yeah.
But I think
And
it was
Hank is checking
interesting
into-
that. Go ahead, Henry.
Hank is checking into, RVs around the era that the one that he got the surveillance photographs from. He's checking into that. Finally, he gets the I guess the secretary to look into, and she finds one more. She finds the one that
Hmm.
the one that Hank's looking for.
Yep. The smoking gun.
Yeah, so we see Hank go to Combo's mom's house, and she tells him that Combo was shot and killed. He goes in Combo's room, finds the picture of Jesse and Skinny Pete, or is it
Hmm.
Combo?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which
And
is
the
gonna make.
room is a shrine.
Yeah.
You know, items from the funeral are there, and it's
Yeah.
just gonna keep that room as
Hmm.
it is. You know.
Yeah, and I like how they put the bag of combos on there.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
very
so
much so.
Gomi is taking the El Paso job, and that's really laying it on Hank. And I think Hank's a little upset about that, but kind of relieved because I don't think he ever wanted to go back there. Ever since
No.
that
It's
exploding turtle
yeah,
head.
well, shit or get off the pot. It's like you didn't take the job. We're sending somebody. You're not doing it.
Yeah.
You couldn't get your ass on that plane. So we're gonna get somebody whose ass can get in a seat because
Yep.
you're not doing it. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
he got to know that at some level. But I mean, what's Gomi supposed to do? Turn it down because But yeah, Hank's got some PTSD going on,
Hmm. Yeah, and I like
and
how
that
Hank.
fight with Marie. But yeah,
Yeah, I like how Hank. As soon as he leaves the office, he stands there and pauses for a minute, takes a deep breath, and just goes in Hank mode, and do what Hank does.
Yeah.
oh yeah, we see him do that a lot.
Hmm.
It's just he's like he goes, you know, like that elevator scene. I don't think we've seen that yet, where
Yeah,
Hank and
we
Marie
did.
come.
Yeah, we did. It's
Oh,
I
Hank
Hank
and
think
and
Marie in the
Marie.
elevator.
Oh,
was
we
that
haven't.
season
I don't
two?
think we've seen that yet.
Yeah, that's a really good example, and that's a lot more like about those two.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Marie's not when she's talking to Skyler. She's not like, "Oh my God, my husband is such an asshole." She's more like, "Yeah, this is driving me crazy, but here's the reason, and how do you deal with this?"
Hmm.
She's really what for an obnoxious, self-centered person because she could be really awesome, Marie, and she is.
Yeah.
And she's making Skylar feel like, yeah, I should like maybe step back and maybe lay off Walt and see if this can work out somehow or but he's going to get an apartment and I think she's going to like it that way for a while.
Hmm.
Right? Isn't it going to take a good while at this point?
Yeah. I take it
The
well.
entire season well, it's we're in season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so the entire season? No. Think. No. It's going to be for a real long time.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think like season 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah. And we're actually getting
After 4.
closer.
After 4.
We're actually getting closer to the episode 1 minute. Remember
Yeah.
what happens in 1 minute? Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Can't wait to talk. I can't wait. I can't
Yeah.
wait to talk about 1 minute
Oh
and
yeah.
half of full measures. Those 3 episodes right there.
And with the
Oh.
BO, but they're shifting right now, and
Yeah.
Skylar is like, I keep picturing those puzzles where you have to move pieces to get other pieces to drop down and move them, and Skylar has just like dropped into another space, and what happens with Hank draws her more toward that, and more. I mean that compels her to take a big step and decide what the story's going to be on the spot
Hmm.
and to take control and try to make sure that this chaos is managed.
Yeah.
I mean, the cool thing about Breaking Bad is, there's all the big stuff, sure, but there's also the little stuff. There's the little, like what you mentioned about the partition between Hank between Walt
Mm-hmm.
and Skyler and Walt Jr. I mean, just the little things. Just Vince Gilligan puts those little details in there.
Yep. Henry, when you first watched the episode and watch it now, what did you notice differently about it? Did you caught any more extra things about it?
Well, I mean, obviously the partition thing was one thing, and also the fact that Skylar she seemed like you know she's putting a public face on, like, yeah, I'm glad about this relationship with Ted, but inwardly she's like, what am I getting myself into?
Mm-hmm.
She's wondering, should I get out of this? Uh, should I go back to Walt? Now he's granted her the divorce.
Well, I think she knows at least this, that she can't even think of having a real relationship, move in, be a stepdad kind of deal, that it can never go there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, Junior would hate her for that.
Yeah.
And so this relationship doesn't have a long path. And she's really kind of mulling around the end of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She
tells the
won't
lawyer.
even go out to dinner with him if she's not there.
She tells the lawyer, like, my son thinks I'm a bitch, and I can't really do much with Walt Sr. because, I know this secret about him, but I can't say anything about it. Because, remember what was it Saul said about it?
Blowback.
Blowback, yes, blowback, right. Yeah, the blowback. It would be major blowback.
Mm-hmm.
Because Walt Jr. would find out, and then that would be devastating to him. Of course, eventually what happens is, in season 5, he does find out.
He does. And it's when he does find out, it's all over the news. Media's picked it up.
And Skylar's plan is for naught. And she finds out that when she was at that fork in the road, that she took the wrong way.
Yeah.
She should have been doing everything her lawyer has been telling her to do. Of course, there'd be no show.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
but realistically speaking, yeah, she should have.
I mean, in season 5 is especially from Ozymandias on. Season 5 is when everything just goes to shit.
Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. Ozymandias is just perfect title. That crumbling in the sand, from a king to just like dust on the ground, and yeah, but yeah, she can't she can't be with Ted. She knows that much right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he wants things to progress. I'm sure he does. He keeps talking that way. And she's got a wall, We get together, I get to stand on your warm floor, and then I go home. And that's that.
Yeah.
He's going to get pushier.
I thought it was interesting, when Skylar goes into the nursery and she's I'm not sure what she was looking for in the closet, but that's when she sees the bag of money and she pulls it down.
I think she was just being a little nosy.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, he already showed her that bag.
Yeah.
And right after that was when she went to work and said, "Hey, Ted, let's go." Right after that was her reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was trying to make the argument that he could stay, and he took that out and said, "Look at the money," and that was her answer.
Yeah.
She didn't want the money. She didn't want money that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Do you think when she saw those divorce papers, you think she realized that Walt's making meth again?
No, I think it's like, be careful what you wish for. I think she's sad that he did it. But it's like, it's not done till it's filed.
Mm-hmm.
But, but it goes back to that conversation that Marie and Skyler had on the phone about, your husband is looking at death, or has looked at death in the face.
Yeah.
And is freaked out. And what do you do? How do you handle this? And, aren't you an asshole if you don't acknowledge that, give them some latitude. You're reacting to something big, and okay, but can we, now, I don't know, figure out a way to talk about it without it being like, Marie and Hank was not, he took that PTSD out on her big time. He just switched it around, lashed out at her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he did. He just, I mean, but I mean, Hank's the type, he doesn't want to admit, how deeply affected he was.
Yeah.
By what
Well,
happened.
that's because everybody has this thing about Hank. He's that big burly man, and he's not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this goes to my theory. I don't know if it's intentional or just a theory that people make up after the fact, but I believe that Hank and Walt are two sides of the same coin, and they approach the same issue with the same amount of ego and the same unwillingness to admit to weakness or needing help or needing whatever, who can provide, who can be really good at something, and rise up. And you've got Walt rising up as the kingpin, and you've got Hank going up the ranks in the DEA, and there they are.
Yeah. I mean, we eventually see that Hank, becomes the director because the director resigns.
ASAC Schrader.
Yeah, ASAC Schrader. Yeah.
But they're both in the same business. I mean, literally, Hank's job at this point is made possible by big drug manufacturers like Walt.
Mm-hmm.
It gives them something to do, somebody to chase down. And they are both profiting from the same meth case.
Yeah.
And they're both going up the ladder at the same time.
And of course, eventually, we'll see Walt and Jesse. Is it? I think it's next week. Yeah. The next episode.
Next week is the end of the era of the RV.
Of the crystal ship.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I can already hear the music that they play over that. Oh, that was awesome.
They destroy the crystal ship.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. Oh, after the epic scene.
Oh, yeah, that epic.
This is my own private domicile. Etc. They really laughed when Jesse said plural bitch to Walt. I forget in what context. But anyway, and Bryan Cranston's going, oh yeah, that's the one of the only words Jesse learned in high school that he can use in real life now, that he knows what that word means. And then Anna Gunn's going, cowhouse.
The cowhouse. Yeah.
That was fun. And yeah, and then the big lure, the whole thing, that it was to get Walt to go to the superlab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The superlab really persuaded Walt.
It did. And then, of course, the monologue by Gus. You know,
Mm-hmm.
about the man what does the man do? Man provides for his family. Oh, genius, brilliant.
Yeah.
Whether it's appreciated or whether he's respected or even loved.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is a little different than Walt's view of it, which has been, I'm going to provide and they're going to know it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Gus is saying, no, you just got to do the providing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
And Walt looks up to these people. I mean, you know, even people who are his enemies, people who he has to kill because it's a choice between him or them. And then he'll, to the point where he's taking on characteristics like Crazy 8 and the bread.
Yep.
And this speech, this is something from Gus that Walt is actually going to fulfill, because as much as Gus is a thorn in Walt's side through the series, he respects him and he's learned a lot from him.
Yeah. And Giancarlo Esposito just kills it. I mean, he
Yeah.
just kills it.
We need Gus in season 2 of Better Call Saul.
Yes, we do. Yes,
he
we
doesn't
do.
raise his voice at
No.
all.
No.
Doesn't at all. And he's not physically intimidating either. Just something in his eyes and the way he says things.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he needs
Oh, yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
The way he holds himself.
What I thought was interesting was when Jesse brought up that he's giving charity to Walt.
Yes.
You can just sit on your ass and do nothing, and I'll pay you 10% of what I make. And that really ticked Walt off, because he does
Yeah.
not do charity at all.
No. No.
Nope. No, it's a dirty word, as Skyler and Walt had that discussion at some point.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, Walt's like, no, I'm in, you're out. He's,
Oh,
he's
that
like,
was a dick thing to say. It really was. But you know, when I know when I watched this series for the first time, I was still on Walt's side here. You know, he was human, so I let him have some flaws, but I for the most part I wanted him to be okay and for him to succeed. And I look back now and wonder why I wasn't going, you're a jerk. I don't like you. That I should have thought that sooner. I've got a ways to go. I've got this season and the whole of next season to go before I start disliking him.
uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
And that was such a jerk thing to say.
And that was one of the things that caused Jesse to, break his windshield. Well, not break it, but I mean,
Destroy the whole thing.
yeah.
Oh, that was great. Walt's windshield, constantly. Jesse's face.
Oh my God, what happens to him next week? Oh gosh.
Yeah.
When Hank comes to his house, beats the crap out of him.
That could have put a career ending for Hank right there. That could have been career ending.
Yeah.
Could have been life ending for Jesse.
Yeah. Well, that's next
probably,
week.
yeah,
That's next week.
probably his second time, at death's door since the series started. Because Tuco was it Tuco who did the nasty job on him? It must have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely was.
Yeah, Tuco was the one that took the money and beat him up with it.
Yeah. I was in the first season.
Yeah. But I think we pretty much hit on the main points of this episode, leading
I think
into
we
the next
did.
one.
Yeah. And what's the next one called, Shane?
Sunset.
Sunset. Uh-huh. Okay. It'll be the sunset of the crystal ship.
Sunset. I see. I'm trying not to watch the next episode. Sometimes I let it go on, and then I start thinking of it as one big episode, and I can't. So I'll try to study more But I got spring fever, and I'm gonna get my gardening on.
Hey.
Oh yeah, I know. We got to get out of the house. We have to get out of the house.
It's been like Granite State. It's been like
Oh yeah.
and awful, awful.
Well, we've been getting rain just about every freaking day, so we're not able to get out.
I'd rather have rain than snow, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, but you know, it causes problems for the farmers, plus flooding
Yeah.
and all that. So
Well, happy spring, you guys. I'm
you
gonna go get
too.
a sandwich.
You gonna cut the crusts off?
Okay.
No, I love the crust.
All right, so we'll see you here next week with Sunset, episode 6.
Yep.
Good
Episode
night.
6, season 3.